So here's the question. What's the deal if you come to Hong Kong as a visitor and you are seeking to remain in Hong Kong as a visitor so that you don't have to seek to come and go in the normal fashion that people historically have done, typically via what I've called the Shenzhen shuttle, which is just not operable at this moment in time. Macau's closed in actual fact too, and that flying in and flying out of anywhere these days inevitably entails some considerable exposure to designated quarantine hoteling, and the 3 or 2 weeks or whatever it is really that's in play at the time that you make your re-entry into Hong Kong as a visitor, having to suffer all of that. What's the attitude of the Immigration Department to extending visitor status? Well, I can tell you now, for at least 12 months the Immigration Department have been positively minded towards extending visitor status for visitors who find themselves here for some good reason, that can't travel easily out of Hong Kong and therefore need to be availed of some status that will enable them to remain here in shelter, shelter in place, so to speak, and that as long as you have got a good reason for being here, you've got the support of some local resident, you have sufficient means to be able to successfully complete an extended period of stay as a visitor, and you can show that you've got a place to stay while you complete your extended period of stay as a visitor. This moment in time, the Immigration Department are granting 30-day extensions kind of almost routinely if you've got all those positive circumstances in play for you as underpinning the reason why you need an extension to your visitor status. There is another mechanism that the Immigration Department are deploying too. It's called the discretionary leave to remain, and what this is all about is if the Immigration Department feel that your stay in Hong Kong as a visitor has sort of reached the maximum amount of time that you're allowed to remain as a visitor in Hong Kong under normal circumstances, and that's no more than 180 days continuously in a 6-month given period, then they're not kicking you out. What they're doing is they're saying, no, we're not going to grant you an extension to your visitor visa. However, we're going to give you discretionary leave to remain, essentially for another 30 days. And you're expected to leave Hong Kong at the end of those 30 days, and they give you a visa refusal letter, but they give you a letter in a sealed envelope that you're supposed to present to the officer at the airport when you're departing, which clears you to depart, to denote that as long as you exit Hong Kong before the date detailed in the letter to the immigration officer at the airport, as long as you depart before that date, you will not be deemed an overstayer, so you are cleared for departure in those circumstances. Good news about that is that our experience has been that the Immigration Department are positively considering applications for extensions of that discretionary leave to remain. So we're not seeing any instances of people being kicked out as visitors, but actually you do need to have a good reason, and you need to be able to demonstrate that you're not going to be at risk of breaching your conditions of stay by taking up unauthorised employment. So it means you've got to have the funds and you've got to have a place to stay to cover the period that the Immigration Department are prepared to extend you for.